It was very spontaneous. It was like, hey, I have a sample here. Oh, I have a loop here. Oh, let's put this together. Hey, wow, this sounds pretty cool. Maybe a little break here. Oh, I know a string here. And, you know, before we knew it, the track was done.
For us to have chosen that name Access is literally, it opened so many doors for us. We didn't know that at the time that we called it Access. And all because of this one afternoon you spent together in the studio.
Yeah, after Access was released, like I said, was like maybe half a year or so later, started getting bookings. We love this record, can you play in a club? And that's really how our worldwide DJ career started.
I think the best thing to say is that it was the first session we did. It wasn't a thought out process.
It was very spontaneous. It was like, hey, I have a sample here. Oh, I have a loop here. Oh, let's put this together. Hey, wow, this sounds pretty cool. Maybe a little break here. Oh, I know a string here. And, you know, before we knew it, the track was done.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, I can remember the first time I heard Access. It was when I just discovered this sound from the 90s and when I decided to, okay, I want to have my solo DJ career. I came in this algorithm and on YouTube, or I bought a record from DJ Misjah and I looked at it on Discogs and then I found this track. It was the first time I heard like a hard acid track, like literally the first time. So it was sort of, couldn't really understand what it was, you know. And I think I even sort of fell off my chair, I don't know, it was super weird.
I heard Access for the first time on a compilation I bought. I believe it was a Cherry Moon tracks, Cherry Moon club in Belgium. And I bought a compilation CD and Access was on there, and it was one of the better tracks. I had no idea what acid was, I never heard about acid. I didn't know anything about music, electronic music, but that was a track that I thought like, wow, this is a raw energy in here. There we are, the original Access vinyl. Misjah and Tim, I think, were really good at making anything with acid. So, there you have it.
Well, there was no software yet, it was just Cubase, which was only MIDI and there was no audio, nothing. So you had a sampler, probably a Kai sampler, 950 or whatever. I had a DX27 and a Akai and a 303. I don't think I even had a 909 yet. I think it was like maybe 8, 9 channels, and that was it.
There's something about the 90s sound, and it feels like it doesn't have like not any rules, but not that many rules, you know? The music produced now is really, and also the whole life we live in now is all like a sort of system, you know, and like a structure, and the music from the 90s can be really liberating. It really opened my mind in a way.
I don't care if there's a little glitch here or something that is like 100% perfect. For me, the more spontaneous the track, the better it is. If you work on a kick drum for a month, then
can forget it. Yeah.
I think at the time it was easier for tracks to cross over between genres. You know, you say like we had the house and techno and trance, but Access was played by virtually everybody except maybe R&B DJs, but almost everybody was supporting Access.
Attracted a lot of support, and what I remember from Music Magazine, it was a UK magazine, they had these
reviews.
Yeah, reviews, and there was a review in from Carl Cox. All these big names were telling about their experience playing this record.
I think at the time I really loved Higher State of Consciousness by Josh Wink, and I recognized the same sound in Access, of course. I mean, it's a 303, both tracks. And much later I learned how to make that, and basically as soon as I learned what machine that made, I tried to go to a shop in the city where I live to see if they could sell me one. They said, well, you know, it hasn't been made for the last 15 years. So good luck finding one.
The 303 was invented to be a bassline machine, but it was so difficult to program that it was, as a bassline machine, it was a complete failure. And then end of the 80s, you know, in Detroit, they were like, "Hey, I can use this machine." They were going for $50 because nobody wanted the bassline machine, and that's how they cranked it up, and that's how the acid sound started.
Such a one-of-a-kind sound. You can either use it really low as a deep bass line or really tweak it into the higher frequencies. It's super versatile machine.
Somebody tagged me on Facebook. Joris was playing the Access remix, or he had like a remix before this. He had like some sort of edit, and that's where I first saw he was playing the remix.
It was a big challenge remixing this track. First of all, there was no parts, no stems, so I think these guys recorded just one stereo session, which is always a challenge for remixing a track, you know. So I kind of made more like a remake. I think I used one sample from the original track, the kind of the stab sound. And the rest I completely remade. Even the 303 I had to replay. And I managed to get very close to the sounds that you can find on the original record.
I really recognize the immense effort Joris has made to re-plug this record. He's been playing it for a couple years already, also in his shows on YouTube, and play this record in his sets. So yeah, a lot of thanks to him.
I like that when Joris picked it up, that a whole generation of people that go to clubs never heard Access, and now they're like they probably don't even realize that the track is almost 30 years old, you know. So that's pretty cool.
So it must be so funny or sick to see for DJ Misjah and DJ Tim to see what's happening right now, you know. There's like this whole new generation of people who really like the track and feel that they discover it for the first time, you know, and hear a certain sound for the first time, and it must be so weird for them to see that happening, you know, because of course they made the track like 28 years ago or something, and now out of a sudden like so many people like it again.
I made a faster version, which was something that worked in my faster sets, but when I played a slower set, it didn't quite work. So I tried to find a balance between making a track that sounds good on a lower BPM and a faster BPM as well. So that's kind of what the final result is.
You could see the whole club exploding like it did when we just brought it out. So for me that was yeah, very cool to see, obviously, to see this kind of renewed energy around this track.
Oh, there's been so many highlights playing this remix, from New Year's Eve at Awakenings or ADE. I remember one of the first times was last year at Loveland. And then I've been playing it pretty much every set. And it's always a track, you know, that really takes people to the next level. There's a big breakdown, and it's kind of like, oh, what's happening? Just like in the original track. I try to stay quite close to the idea of the original track, so I didn't remake it in a sense where you can't recognize it anymore. It's kind of the same track, but slower.
I had the opportunity to do like an acid-only set, you know, which I'd never done before. And it was sort of like, oh, how am I going to do that? And I really digged into the sound and the certain tracks, and then I came, like, Access, of course, I have to play it, you know, during like an acid set. So I think that was my favorite moment, because when I played it, it really felt like I didn't play it 2 years before that, and then out of a sudden I played it again, you know, and people really went crazy. It was sort of the highlight of the set, you know, and that was, yeah, a really, really sick moment. And maybe my favorite, you know, because it really felt like special again.
We were just talking about when we drove here. We're just talking about you know, Tim still has a studio. I don't have a studio anymore, but I mean I have a mastering studio, which is big, but no production studio. But yeah, well, maybe we can.
For sure, yeah. This is a nice time to
Just a brainstorm, you know, just to very spontaneously. Who knows, you know, what comes out of it.
Yeah.